Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Modern Spiritualist. My name is Raheem. Today, I'm going to tell you guys like a pretty quick story of a real-time manifestation that happened recently. And by real-time, I mean that basically, as I was manifesting, the manifestation was occurring. Or another way to look at this would be if you say you had a manifestation practice the way that I do of writing out in a journal certain manifestation statements, affirmations, whatever in the morning. Let's say that you wrote a specific manifestation in the morning, and as that manifestation is actually coming true in real time later on in your day, you're actually watching it happen. And as you're watching it happen and knowing that's your manifestation, you're co-creating, like you're adding more energy to it through your conscious awareness. And so you continue to manifest it and it gets brighter and brighter and more amplified. And so often these are things that happen. I mean, depending on what you're trying to manifest, these things happen over the course of a long period of time. So while there's peaks and troughs and like delays sometimes in your pathway towards manifesting something, if you were to manifest something really, really quickly, all of that sort of symphonic layering of emotion and peaks and troughs and whatever kind of happens in a really crammed period of time. And so it's a really good way for me to kind of explain all the different components of how something is manifesting. And so all I did when I manifested something that morning was something really broad. I think it was just, I'm so thankful that I live in abundance in all forms, right? And abundance in all forms can look like a lot of different things. I mean, it's a really open thing, which means I wasn't too hell-bent on having a certain expectation because I came into this day with a pretty open-ended manifestation as it was, which makes it easier for things to manifest, obviously. And so because abundance can look like a lot of things, it's not a really specific thing. I didn't ask for $1,000, I just asked for abundance. I was kind of open to how that would unfold that day. And so, abundance can be, just happiness, joy, flow. It can be, maybe social abundance, like just having a lot of activities with other people, social activities. It could be money. It could be, getting to have a time to yourself where you work on all of your skills and hobbies and activities that you like to enjoy. There's so many different ways that you can have an abundant day. And today just happened to be a day that I was meeting my friend for sushi for dinner, and I just recently moved back to LA, which is the city that I lived in my entire adult life, but I have been gone since COVID and have recently returned, so every time I get to see somebody, it's like relatively new still. It's like, oh, I'm so excited to see you. So it's already a celebration. This was like the first time I was really seeing him one-on-one, especially since I'd gotten back, and he had just achieved something really, really, really great in his life. Like he had hit a huge milestone. And so he was telling me about that, and we were able to celebrate that at dinner as well. So we're already in this sort of energy of celebration, and celebration itself is actually a process of warriorship. When you engage in archetypal spiritual warriorship activities, which can also look a lot of ways, if you skip the celebration component, you actually piss your inner warrior off. The warrior loves to celebrate his or her or their accomplishments. And so this was a warriorship celebration of he reached his milestone, I reached mine. We were reconnecting for the first time in a bit, and we're really close friends. I have cut back on drinking significantly in the past couple of years, and kind of to the point to where I don't really even enjoy drinking that much. When I do drink, it depends on what it is. Because we were having sushi and I happen to love sake, it was a time in which I got to indulge in something I rarely indulge in and get great enjoyment out of it, right? So I decide that I'm gonna pay for his dinner to celebrate his accomplishment, and partly because I wanted to celebrate his accomplishment and partly because I knew that I had the means, to buy dinner. It wasn't gonna be a big deal. It wasn't going to have an impact on me. It was going to have a bigger impact on me to be able to celebrate in that moment, so it felt much better to me to offer to pay. And I also decided to indulge myself to get, whatever I wanted to get, to really enjoy the day, to not worry about the expense, because I had no necessity for a budget that night. And I also ordered extra to bring back to my partner at home, right? So there was just tons of sushi. I got sake. I ordered one sake, My friend's not much of a drinker, so I didn't think that he would want me, right? And I didn't care if he did. And so at a certain point, he did ask me for some. So we got to like have a little cheers moment and share that together, which was really, you know, beautiful for me and important to me. And I was so happy that he shared that with me. And so we're already in this like, you know, just decadent sense of abundance. And because he and I have a very clear relationship between the two of us, it's like all there is synergy and just us magnifying each other's energy in really, you know, procreative ways. And so then here's the falling action, right? Dinner's going great, and then this is not a horrible, horrific thing or anything. I just got bonked on the head by a waiter. Like there was like, we were sitting outside on a patio, and there were like heavy like blinds or something behind me, like something that like lifts up and down. I think they were blinds, and he was like lowering the blinds, and they were like giant like industrial, you know, weatherproof blinds that exist for like outside use. So they were like huge and heavy and metal, and it just like came right down on my head, and it really hurt, right? So I recoiled a bit, and I like took a minute and was like, what just happened? What just hit me? I was like worried a little bit that maybe I'd gotten a concussion or something because it was really painful, and I was kind of like dazed for a minute. And then when I kind of came back, you know, a second later, I realized what happened. The waiter had accidentally hit me in the back of the head, and he was like apologizing, right? And I had a moment where I could have chosen to be in reaction, right? Like I could have gone on the defense, I could have been angry. There were a lot of ways that I could have reacted negatively in that moment, and you know, nobody would have blamed me, maybe for doing so, depending on how inappropriate I behaved. But you know, if I had been angry, if I had shouted at the waiter, or if I had had words with the waiter, been snippy with him, if I had had some sort of other fear-based reaction, it wouldn't have been out of the realm of possibility. Instead, I paused, I didn't react, I took a breath, I really felt into what was happening in the moment, I felt my head, I decided that nothing, you know, lasting or damaging was, you know, at play here, that it was just a bump on the head. You know, my nervous system, you know, came right back down with my breath, and then I turned to the waiter, and I just said what was authentically true in that moment, which was just like, I was like, ow. And everyone laughed, and the waiter relaxed because he was, you know, like nervous for a minute and felt really, really bad that he'd hurt me. And then he kind of broke even more, and he was like, I apologize, like I'm a little stoned right now. And I was like, that's so funny, I'm a little stoned right now too. And then we had a laugh about that, so there was like even more ice broke. And that was a moment, right, too, where if I had been anybody else, or if I had decided or unfairly judged him that, you know, he was in the wrong because of what he had just told me, like if I had had a judgment in my mind about that, then again, it would have split off into an entirely different reality where like a billion other things could have happened. Instead, I just leveled with him, felt into the energy, and was like, you know what? I understand, like we all got to get through our day. No harm done, and that was pretty hilarious, you know, basically. And so then he relaxed even more, we had that connection with each other, and then he said, let me get you a free sake. Right, so he goes in the back, he brings me a free sake, my friend and I get to indulge in even more, right, on the house, and that was something that we got to share together, and I didn't actually lose anything in the deal, because even though my friend had my sake, I ended up getting an extra one. So like, we both just got to multiply rewards, and nothing was lost in the exchange, other than my bump on the head, right, that was the commerce. And so, what's important here, and why I'm describing all these different components, is there's a lot of what Joseph Ally calls it's the bridge of incidents. He coins it the bridge of incidents, which is basically the pathway from your initial intention or manifestation, your dropping of the seed to, well, I guess you're watching from here, so your dropping of the seed to the completion of your manifestation, right? So you have this pathway from here, from A to B, right? Just A to B. And the pathway rarely looks linear. It's usually a zigzag, or it winds, or it loops back around. There's a bunch of ways that you can get to your destination, right? And you don't necessarily control the bridge of incidents because there are a lot of factors, right? All you have ultimately is control of yourself and how you respond to how the things unfold in front of you. But if I hadn't received that bump on the head, I wouldn't have received the extra sake. I wouldn't have received the abundance at the end of that line, right? And if I had responded inappropriately to the bump in the head in that moment, if I had been in a lack of gratitude or fear, or decided that the bump on the head was something to be in complaint towards, or to be in tension with, like relational tension with, as opposed to just accepting that it's something that happened, responding to what it really was and moving on and being, conscientious and polite and empathetic towards myself and others around me, right? If I hadn't done all that, this wouldn't be at the end of the line. So we see this bump on the head as the, sorry, we see this bump on the head as the universe's way of initiating my extra sake to give me the manifestation that I asked for. And so if I had not seen that bump on the head as a potential gift, then I wouldn't receive the manifestation. I could have gone into a complete spiral and nothing would have happened at all. And so it's really, really important to keep your eyes open in really specific ways, to choose to look at things differently, to choose to see everything as a gift, to see life as a gift, to be able to trust in the fact that anything that you're manifesting actively, it's coming to you and it's unfolding in front of you constantly in real time. And the way that things look and the way that things are not necessarily the same thing. While the bump on the head felt bad, it was the catalyst for the gift that I received at the end. It was part of the gift. It was part of the path. And so that's my important point today, is that, gratitude is really the keynote of manifestation. It really, really, truly is. And cultivating ourselves is another really important foundation for good manifestation work, because if we're constantly reacting instead of responding to our environments, it doesn't matter how many intentions we're seeding or planting or whatever, we're not receiving them on the other end of the line. We keep delaying them because we're not accepting the gifts when they come in for what they are. We turn away from them. And so let's begin a new pattern, right? Let's start with us. Let's start with our own lives, because all we have is power over ourselves. And through connection with ourselves, we connect with everything else around us. In this story, because I view everything as one, my friend was one with me. That's why he shared my abundance. The waiter was one with me. That's why he did not receive my scorn. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these ways that we were just in full love and harmony in this situation. And that's when all the abundance happens. That's when all the manifestations occur. And so if you can look at things not as obstacles, but as gifts, as things that are given to you on the path in order for you to ultimately receive what you want, then you start to see the flow, the exchange, and the returns start to become available to you. Not that they never weren't, but you start to be able to fully access them because your behavior and your perception of what's going on has changed. So life is always the teacher, life is always the mirror, life is always the path opening up to give us what we want. And if we're not in right relationship with life, then we're not in right relationship with our manifestations. To be in right relationship with our manifestations is to be in right relationship with life, because life is the ultimate manifestation, right? Physical form. You're here, you're a being, that's incredible. It's all a gift. So go get what you were here to receive. It's available to you. It's for you. Okay. Thank you all. Bye.